Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 10 of the J Situation podcast. 10 episodes. That's neat, right? I really enjoyed doing these, and the feedback from you folks so far is that you enjoy it too. So that seems like a win-win. So thanks for listening, guys. If you've listened to all of the previous episodes, that's super cool. If not, that's cool too. Maybe even cooler because you have a lot to catch up on. I know that sometimes when I listen to podcasts, I do it on drives, or when I'm getting ready in the morning or whatever. So it's cool to have a backlog of stuff to listen to sometimes. I feel like podcasts are cool because you can listen to them on your schedule. I guess that's the age we live in now, right? Remember when we all gather around the TV on Thursday nights? Like we watched Seinfeld. Remember that? That was crazy. Anyway, so I'm recording this on April 15th, 2020. So how are you folks doing? What a time to be alive, right? Not only are we living in unprecedented times, it's getting super nice outside. As the weather gets better, I think it's really going to start challenging everyone even more to stay away from folks. Man, things are getting really interesting. Theoretically, April 15th, today, it should be tax day, but not this year. So it's kind of cool, but it's kind of not cool, right? It's so crazy. I just got done working out here in my house. So I'm kind of hyped up on pre-workout right now. I'm going to try not to talk too fast, which is hard for me to begin with. And now that, I have all this stimulant caffeine going through my system, it's kind of fighting me, but we're going to do our best, guys. Okay, so last time we covered a lot of ground, episode 9. So this time, episode 10. Today, I'm going to continue some of last week's discussions and also move into some new topics. Okay, so today's agenda, I have 5 main topics. The first one, Sound Signature Review 6.2, the Rugged Oculus on a subcompact 22 pistol. So we'll go into that. Hopefully you guys have already perused that on the website. Second topic, I have some thanks to give to some members of PEW Science and supporters of PEW Science. That's really just super awesome. Topic 3. Wanted to address testing from other sources and some new online silencer community exposure that I was not aware of until now. Topic 4 will be continuing the discussion on 300 Blackout. Talk a little bit more about barrels and some of the components for the AR platform. And then the last topic we'll go into is continuing our discussion on personal defense weapons that we actually ended with last time. I didn't want to lead with that this time. We're gonna tackle that at the end again. That's just the way I'm gonna do it. Okay. So first topic, Review 6.2. Have you folks checked it out? It's quite a bit different than the first one, right? So in the first review, in Review 6.1, you folks saw performance of the Rugged Oculus on a 16-inch barrel with CCI standard velocity ammunition. Very quiet, right? Very quiet. Remember, CCI calls that standard velocity, so it's right below transonic velocity most of the time. It really depends on your conditions, where you are elevation-wise and everything, the speed of sound at your location. But it's pretty much below transonic out of a 16-inch barrel, more or less. It's really nice and it's really consistent silencer ammo. A lot of folks use it for testing, and I think that's great. It's pretty high quality stuff. I like it. So if you remember, with that ammo, with that 16-inch bolt action, the peak sound pressure measured 1 meter left of the muzzle in that first review was 123 decibels in the Oculus's long configuration. 123. So that's real data, folks. After I launched that review, a lot of people were surprised that a 22 silencer would measure 123 decibels peak 1 meter to the left of the muzzle. So if you read the silencer sound standard, you'll see why that is a surprise to most people. If you're surprised, don't feel bad. It's okay. The manufacturers are surprised too, right? Keep in mind, folks, manufacturers are seeing this stuff when you do, all right? They're not getting the data before you. The only manufacturers that see test results outside these public reviews are those that are PEW Science clients. So, we do offer professional testing services, and when a client funds a test, they own that data. Such data, it's not published by us unless the owner of the data requests it. If someone requests that we publish their data, we will publish it. If we publish any data like that, there will be a disclaimer on it that it was performed with outside funding and the data is owned by the entity who funded the tests. It's pretty simple. If you have any questions about that, check out the FAQ on the website, the FAQ, the frequently asked questions. I keep this topic at the top of the FAQ page so you guys know it's current, just so there's no mistakes in understanding that. All right, so review 6.2. So this time we tested the Oculus on the small subcompact Beretta 21A. Okay, the peak sound pressure measured 1 meter to the left of the muzzle hits over 130 decibels on the second shot with the long configuration of the silencer on that subcompact pistol host. When you change the Oculus to the short configuration, you almost hit 140 decibels on the second shot. Guys, 140 decibels. So remember that number? Some of you might remember that. So remember that people have been telling you that 140 decibels is the threshold for hearing safe, quote unquote. Folks, I'm here to tell you that hearing safe is much more complicated than one number. Hearing safe depends on peak pressure, the duration of the sound, and the dose. How often are your ears exposed? So if you would like more technical details of how that works, that's exactly why I published it all on pewscience.com. So pewscience.com, PEW Science.com. Go check it out. I think you'll like it. So keep in mind the suppression rating for the Oculus on that host weapon, on the Beretta 21A, the semi-auto subcompact pistol host, it dropped from 75.5 with the long configuration down to 59.1. Okay, keep in mind, the suppression rating is from 0 to 100. That's one number. Okay, that's the one number that matters now. If you're going to look at one number and use one number to rate silencers, you got to use the suppression rating because it takes into account all of the other stuff. And that's why I did it for you guys, right? All right, oh, sorry, I'm getting off track. So, with the long configuration, you get a 75.5 with the Oculus on that small pistol and 59.1 when you go down to the short configuration. That is way different than what happened on the rifle in the first review. So go check that out. I want you to examine why that is when you see the data. Don't take my word for it right now. And don't take my word for it all. Go look at the data. Go read it. PewScience.com contains full pressure and impulse time histories. So other folks are giving you single points that are wrong. Okay, they're just wrong. And we're giving you millions of points that are right. Literally, we're giving you millions of data points. So what a time to be alive. No, but seriously, you get millions of data points and meaningful hearing risk data. Okay, so you can't beat that. So go check it out. I think it's pretty useful. So getting back to the review. So I got some comments from some folks that didn't like the fact or took some issue or just highlighted the fact that we didn't use, or I'm sorry, that we used a mixed bag of ammunition for testing in this review. Okay. Your criticism is 100% valid. And I want to give you some background on that test so you kind of understand what's going on here and why we did it. So that ammunition was definitely not preferred. That was not preferred for the test. It's not something I set out to do. So I was doing some other testing at a remote site last year, and a visitor had the Beretta 21A pistol with them. It was their personal gun. And I had my Oculus, my personal Rugged Oculus, with me in one of my bags, and I actually wasn't planning on testing it that day. So yet another third party had a Ziploc bag full of random 22 ammo. So, I kind of looked at these three factors. I was like, well, I have my Oculus. This guy has a Beretta 21A, because I don't own a 21A, I have a 71. So I was like, oh, he has a 21A. That's cool. A lot of people like to put silencers on that. And then this other guy was like, hey, man, I got some ammo. I was like, let's do this. So I didn't want to waste that opportunity. And we tested it. We tested it, and we did a lot of shots too. We did more than 5, right? We did 8. Well, we tried to do 8 for both the long and short, and then we had a malfunction with one of the rounds. So you only get 7 shots in one of the tests, but there was a malfunction. I think I say that in the review. Anyway, so you guys saw how quiet the silencer could be with CCI standard velocity on a 16-inch barrel in review 6.1, right? So for another extreme, what better thing to see than an extremely short barrel with random ammo? I mean, it's a real case. I'm not trying to tell you that it's directly comparable with CCI standard velocity. What I'm trying to tell you is that it's still a real case, and it gives you information, and the information is useful. I think the CCI standard velocity test would be useful too, and we're going to do that test. But I think having what we show in review 6.2 right now with the Beretta 21A and random ammunition is pretty useful for someone really wanting to know how loud something can be on any given day. And, you members that have seen the waveforms measured at the ear in those reviews, for those of you who don't know, PEW Science members that support us, support the podcast, support the standards, support the website, they also get to look at the detailed waveforms measured 6 inches to the right of the shooter's right ear. Those members that have seen that data, that see that in the member reviews on the website, you guys have seen some incredibly interesting stuff. And I know you're finding it useful, which is cool because you guys have talked to me about it. It's so cool. So thanks again for your support. And I'm excited that you guys are looking at that. Man, this gets me excited. Okay, so the Oculus. Good silencer, in my subjective opinion. Okay? But objectively, if you look at the data, it's good too, right? I mean, you folks now have real data, right? So you have real high fidelity data for that silencer on 2 hosts. Not only that, you folks now have the suppression rating for that silencer on 2 hosts and in both silencer configurations, long and short, since it's modular, right? So now you have 4 suppression ratings so far. You're building a knowledge base, right? You have 4 so far. So now you know factually how hearing safe that silencer is on those weapons. And you know relatively between them all, right? Because you have different ratings for each configuration, different weapon. So you can put them on a scale, right? Cool, right? So this is the first time that any consumer in the world has seen this information. And for almost all manufacturers, this is the first time they've seen it too. Well, I mean, for all manufacturers, this is the first time they've seen it from us. I don't want to speak for everyone and what they've done with research, because a lot of folks keep research secret, but I can tell you that they probably haven't seen this. I hope you folks realize how big a step this is for gunshot noise. The time for guessing is over. The time for misinterpreting numbers is over. It's over. If you get data from PEW Science, it's meaningful data. We're not only giving you way more than a peak sound pressure, we're giving you the peak sound pressure measured correctly. And we're giving you impulse, and we're giving you the suppression rating. So we're playing for keeps here, guys. This is a new game now. So this is what innovation looks like. So for you members that are checking out the waveforms measured at the ear in review 6.2, I hope you're paying attention to the impulse waveforms. You're really seeing the effects of short versus long configurations and what they do on semi-auto hosts. You'll notice how the ammunition really made a difference too. I'm excited for you members that get to see those at-ear waveforms. That data is extremely interesting. The suppression rating is giving everyone the final answer, but to truly see what is going on, folks will really need to watch the timing of certain events during the weapon operation as viewed through the pressure and impulse histories. I think as we continue to release reviews, this stuff is going to really help put things in perspective. All the voodoo people talk about with regard to silencer and weapon sound, it really isn't voodoo at all. It can all be explained, even ammunition variations. So we have the technology, guys. You just have to know how to use it and how to present the data. Man, this is getting me hyped up. So I love this stuff so much. It's kind of what I do, right? So I'm very excited about this. It just gets me hyped up. So, okay, back to the Oculus. If you're in the market right now for a 22 silencer, I'd be hard pressed not to tell you to consider the Oculus. I find it to be pretty slick. Now, it has a pretty interesting history. So if you want to know a little more, so the SWR Warlock, the old Warlock, it was a sealed 22 silencer, aluminum silencer back in the day. Extremely quiet silencer. Had the old Omega baffle stack, right? The old Omega baffle stack, super cool. The SWR Spectre evolved from that as kind of a durable brother, right? It was like stainless steel and heavier and beat it up. Some changes were made, and then the Spectre 2 was released. I kind of see the Oculus, I kind of see it as a modular Spectre 3, but I know that's technically not correct. Okay, it's technically a lot different than the Spectre series. But one thing that I think it shares, and one thing that holds constant, is the durability. It's heavier than some other silencers for sure, but it's definitely built well and very solid. Rugged has a good warranty and service record too. So folks should consider that when they purchase stuff. I think that's important. For me, it is. A lot of silencer manufacturers have great service nowadays, right? I know Silencer Co. has great service. What are some other ones that have great service? I think even AAC has good service nowadays, which is great. Excuse me. So I think that's great. I don't want to, I don't want to speak too much about the service history of individual companies, because I feel like you only get a chance to really speak about that if you've used the service. Does that make sense? I don't want to start talking about stuff. I know that when I've called Silencer Co. for some stuff that is no longer serviced by a manufacturer, they were extremely responsive to me, so that's cool. I can mention Rugged specifically because I've used their service for stuff I've broken. I break stuff. I tell you what, they're probably one of the best in my experience, and they get you up and running super quickly, which is cool. But that kind of goes back to their SWR days. So, they continue that legacy, and I'm glad to see they're still making that a priority. That's cool. So there are definitely other 22 silencers out there that are durable and quiet from companies that have good customer service. I don't want to turn this into a commercial for Rugged. Really, guys, I'm serious. I don't want that. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. So I just want to make sure you guys understand where I'm coming from here. I just want to give you my honest opinion and information that I know. Okay, so don't worry. We're going to release more reviews, a lot more reviews for a long time. We're just getting started. This is so exciting. Super pumped. All right. Super pumped to keep showing you folks real, useful, meaningful data. All right, so that's enough about the second review and the Oculus. You guys can go check that out. Any questions, let me know. I'm here to answer them. Okay, need some water. All right, topic 2. I'm making good time. 20 minutes in? Yeah, I'm making good time. Topic 2. Thank you to members of PEW Science. Thank you to supporters of PEW Science. I saw that some new members are signing up. Man, welcome to the club. I don't know, is it a club? I don't think it's a club. Is it a family? No. Well, welcome to the initiative. Yes. I just thought of that. Yes. Welcome to the PEW Science initiative. Welcome to supporting us in what we're doing. Join us on this journey. You know, your contributions are greatly appreciated, and they support the podcast. They support our testing, our ammunition, our software development, hardware development, testing materials. I mean, you name it. There's a lot that goes into this. It's crazy. Oh my God. I actually don't want to even think about that right now because it's overwhelming me. But every little bit helps. Okay, so some of you have asked how long it takes us to create a test report. I can tell you that it's faster than when we first started doing it, right? We've streamlined a lot of it with smart software programming and other techniques. But first and foremost, it's important to keep in mind that we have very strict quality control processes and standards, guys. That part takes a long time. There's a lot of data, on the cutting room floor, so to speak. I guess you could say that. In the trash, really. Not in the trash, I keep it. We keep the data. We don't want to throw anything away, but we have scrapped things for publication. For example, so if the data doesn't pass muster, if it doesn't really meet our requirements, it doesn't get included in the standard. And it doesn't get published. End of story. That takes us longer. It takes longer to do this way. But you guys get a better product. And I hope you folks understand me on that, okay? So again, big thanks. And big thanks to some of the manufacturers, and I guess all the manufacturers who have recently requested proposals for testing, and also some proposals for analysis of their products. I can't mention who those manufacturers are, like on the podcast, obviously, because that's confidential client information. But I did want to thank those parties here publicly, both to let them know I'm appreciative and to let all you folks know that the industry continues to show interest. So that's important, right? And that's important for all of you, because at the end of the day, it's our goal that the consumer and the end user of these products should benefit from all this, right? This is worthless without benefit to everyone. So again, thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Topic 3. Testing from other sources. Gosh. I told people I'd review it. Okay, so testing from other sources, and I want to talk about the new silencer community presence that I'm observing. We'll start with the testing from other sources. Okay, so I've seen and heard some folks mentioning, and some folks have brought it to our attention, some testing some other folks are doing, mainly YouTube stuff, things like that. I don't want to knock what other folks are doing, guys. So I'll address this because people are asking about it. You guys know our opinion, right? Our data speaks for itself. That's pretty much it. We know we're the best at what we do. So, it really doesn't benefit us to concern ourselves with YouTube silencer testing and things like that. Doesn't help. It doesn't really help us. But I guess it helps you to understand our stance on it, I think, just so you know where we're coming from. That's not really what we do. We're a professional testing entity with professional experience and credentials, right? We're not hobbyists. So we're giving you world-class data, high-quality data. Right? We're giving you the best data. That's really all I want to say about that part. I don't really want to dog anyone. I will always endorse what we are doing and why we are doing it. Because it's important to know the qualifications of the parties providing you with a service, right? It's important for you to know that. So that makes sense, right? So I'll kind of dovetail this into another question, into answering another question some folks have had regarding videos. You are rarely going to see a live test series with data in real time from us. unless it's an extremely special occasion, guys. If you ever see something like that, it wouldn't be published until long after the data was heavily scrutinized through our QA/QC process. Some of you have asked to see the process we use. We're taking that request into consideration. That's something we might do. Just know that professional testing services are not what you see on TV, so to speak, right? This isn't a YouTube thing for views, guys. We're not doing that type of thing. This is scientific data, and there are ways to do this. I just want to make sure folks understand this. Be very cautious when you see videos of testing. And if you do see videos, really pay attention to what you see. The things shown in those videos indicating incorrect testing methods are pretty obvious. There are like 100 things that are wrong with the way YouTube folks do things. It's so bad, and I'm not just talking about one or two YouTube folks testing silencers. I'm talking about major entities. Pay attention to what you're looking at. It's so bad that the people making the videos don't even know why their own data is wrong, and they show the whole world. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, if you really step back and think about that, and I was thinking about that the other day when people were asking me about this, because we do not concern ourselves with other people's testing because it's just not productive. But people were asking me about this, and I was sitting there and thinking about it. I was like, man, that's crazy. It's going to keep happening. Those folks can keep doing it. That's fine. It doesn't affect us. But, people keep buying expensive test equipment that still isn't even the right equipment, and they still do things wrong with that equipment that's not even right. So it's like, scientific testing is not easy. And I think people are going to eventually realize that someday. I don't know who woke up one day and thought it was going to be easy and that they could just do it and just share data with consumers and try to sell them stuff with it. I don't, that's just not right. Anyway, imagine spending $30,000 on inadequate equipment and still not even measuring useful data with it or knowing what to do with it. Dude, that's one of those things where you see it, you see it as a professional, and you gotta wonder, it hurts me to think about it, and pour one out for those guys, man. I'm not gonna mention any names. There are several of them, man. Ouch, that hurts. That's like, man. Okay, no, that's bumming me out. Let's go on. We're gonna go on to community presence. That bummed me out. Okay, no, I'm not gonna let that happen. We got a ways to go. We're only half an hour in, almost 28 minutes in. No, we're turning this around, guys. Okay, strap in. Okay, community presence. On one of the previous episodes, I mentioned that some of the online silencer communities had hostile action. It was hostile. That's super typical, right? That's okay. The administrators the guys who run the sites, I guess they don't want me talking about the silencer sound standard there and things like that. There's a few reasons why they don't want us on those forums. We don't need to get into that drama. It's fine. It doesn't affect us. It's just a shame for you guys. It's the same for the public, right? Just a loss for members of forums. They just don't, and that's fine. From our perspective, we hate to see that happen, but we're not gonna spend thousands and thousands of dollars a year right now, at least, to share free data on a forum. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Sorry. Look, I don't want to be negative. We're going to keep positive. Anyway, I really like online forums. I love them because they provide a tremendous, easily accessible community for folks to learn from. I like them this is my little secret. I like them better than Reddit because at the basic level, the way they work programmatically and with regard to an information flow, I like the way they're formatted. I like the way they work. I like how they allow these long form discussions that are in depth in the hierarchy of ways that it works. And I'm kind of halfway between like the old Subgun style. The text-based strict was okay, but I think the bulletin board style they have that's a little more modern, I find to be better just because I'm a really visual person. Anyway, that's my personal opinion. Now, I enjoy Reddit. Don't get me wrong. And I'm actually, man, I've only been on Reddit for like half a decade, 5 years. So not that long, but I do enjoy Reddit. I like it because it can cut down on spam, and bad, stupid things because the voting, the voting structure, right? But voting structures can also facilitate echo chambers. I guess the voting structures, if everyone just up, because it's a hive mind thing, or downvote, like it's a hive mind either way, and then confirmation bias, all that, whatever, groupthink, or all these other buzzword terms that I probably don't understand. Anyway, that's psychology stuff. I suppose that can happen on forums too. I mean, it's happened to me. So I don't know. Anyway, I guess all that has to do more with human behavior, but that's just my opinion on these type of communities. Anyway, so I was doing some website maintenance yesterday or the day before yesterday or whenever this was. And I was looking at some of the traffic sources and analytics. I was trying to get a feel for, where our visitors are coming from and, who they are, what they're doing and what they need, trying to serve our users better. And I saw some traffic sources that were new I haven't seen. One was an online discussion forum I had never seen before, or maybe I'd seen it, but I hadn't registered. It's called Form 1 Suppressor. The website is form1suppressor.boards.net. So like form, FORM, number 1, then suppressor.boards.net. It's a freaking Form 1 Suppressor forum. That's cool, right? Anyway, turns out a member of PEW Science, shout out to this member, who also follows me on Instagram. His handle is Silencer Student. So shout out to Silencer Student, dude's cool, is over on those forums, and so is Hanson Brothers. They're a dealer in Virginia. I know those guys. Shout out to Hanson Brothers. I saw that, I saw that they were on the forum too. As I was perusing the forum, went to the forum, made an account, because, you can't even see what they post unless you make an account, which that's pretty smart. Yes, get some more users. Anyway, so hey, cool, that's neat, right? So I registered, made an account. Because folks had posted about the Silencer sound standard there. So now I have an account there, PEW Science, and I will be happy to interact with you folks that are there and any questions you may have. I've already been doing that a little bit. Super cool to see communities still forming and being active. That's really great. I got on there today, and some folks from there have joined PEW Science, which is neat. And man, that community is cool. They're doing some cool stuff. I love it. I love free information like that. It's so neat. Anyway, some of those folks and some other folks have asked me, they continue to ask me, if PEW Science will provide a service to evaluate the sound signatures of Form 1 silencers. Someone on ARFCOM asked me that before the discussion got shut down. I remember that. Shout out to the guy in ARFCOM. I've seen that guy post before. He's a cool dude. Maybe we'll talk again someday if we ever go on ARFCOM, which may not happen. Anyway, so will we measure Form 1 silencers? We're definitely considering that. We're considering offering a low-cost service for the hobbyist in which we test your silencers for you, but that's not something we're doing right now in the short term. That's not something we're focused on. So we are considering your suggestion due to all the inquiries we're getting, but right now we are not implementing that. So I just wanted to address that officially here and let you know that we are considering it. It is not out of the question. We are just not focused on that at this time. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so back to online communities. You know, I will say, Silencer Talk. You know, that's run by Robert Silvers. I guess he still owns that site. It's still there. It's still around. It's not what it once was. Just, you know, things change. That place used to be a riot. It was so fun. I mean, everyone was there, guys. We had Kevin, who's at Q now, McGee from Dead Air, John from AAC, Mers was on there, Robert, the guys from SWR were on there. Griffin even showed up. It got crazy. It got so crazy. That was where, like, if you guys are new to the silencer industry, the fun we used to have, I call it fun because it was insanity. Silencer Talk was crazy. And, you know, you can actually still search it to like see crazy. I mean, and this, you know, there are nuggets. There's nuggets of wisdom on there. You know, every once in a while, you really do a deep dive. If I don't know, if you're bored coronavirus land and you want to kill hours of time, go make yourself numb. You got to be careful what you read because there's a lot of BS. But if you wade through it. You'll see some stuff. You'll be like, oh my God, what did he say? Anyway, if you're into that, I don't know. It used to be a cool place because you'd ask something like, hey, you know, I want to know about this host. What do you think about this host? How does this host work with can X, can Y? What are your experiences? And there are some people that pop out of that woodwork. Old manufactured, like OG people that would talk to you. And you just get straight from the horse's mouth stuff. And it sucks that it all kind of went to hell. But, you know, I feel like that's one of those times where, you know, people took their licks. And yeah, there was some bad stuff that went on. I'm not going to say it was all roses. But dang, man, I was there. It was crazy. Anyway, seeing this Form 1 suppressor forum now, it's pretty civilized so far. Yeah, that's great, right? So typically the folks that make their own silencers really like to get into the sound performance of products and hearing damage metrics. So it's cool to see that forum active. Okay, so for those of you not up on the government forum lingo from the ATF, a Form 1 is the application you fill out to manufacture an item that is restricted by the National Firearms Act of 1934. Okay. If you want to make a short barrel rifle or a silencer or anything else that you can own as a non-manufacturer, so like you can fill that Form 1 out and pay a $200 tax, and when you get your tax stamp on the form and you get that form back with a stamp on it, you can build your item that you were approved to build. So it's all in the up and up, right? With the feds. So you can't do a machine gun because those are illegal for non-manufacturers after May of 1986. It's a bummer, right? But you can do a lot of other stuff. So that's cool. Now, you know, it's funny story. Some folks actually have Form 1 some machine guns and they got them approved like a while back. That was rectified by the ATF pretty quickly, but things did slip through the cracks here and there. Could you imagine doing that? You Form 1 a machine gun. You're like, dude, I got my form back. Check out my stamp. And then you're like, oh, I probably don't want my dog to die. So I'm probably don't want my dog to get shot by those guys. I'm going to go ahead and not make my machine gun. Probably wise. For the record. For the official record. I'm going to say it's wise not to do illegal things. Anyway, so another community. That's awesome. Super stoked about this. Folks can learn so much from those communities. Like I said, it's super great. Always remember, Todd McGee from Dead Air got his start with a Form 1 silencer. Think about that, right? So don't let your dreams be dreams. Okay, topic 4. 300 blackout. 300 blackout, barrels and components for the AR platform. Yeah, we started talking. I started talking about this, man. So last time I talked about 300 blackout barrels, I'm finally taking the plunge. I'm going to actually join you. I've waited over a decade to join you. I I am a skeptic when it comes to ammunition and cartridges. I am a strict traditionalist. Well, not that traditional, but I stick to NATO, man. I'm 9 by 19, 7.62 by 51, 5.56 by 45, which I even resisted for a long time. Actually, I for the longest time I have been 9 millimeter and 308. Because what can't you do with that, right? But then I branched out to the 5.56 for AR-15s, and then I branched out to 22, and then I branched out to 45 ACP because America. So now 300 blackout. We'll do it. Guys, I still don't have 7.62 by 39. I'm that conservative when it comes to caliber diversification. Is that true? Conservatism when it comes to would that be the opposite of conservatism? No, it wouldn't be. No, I stand by that statement. I am conservative when it comes to firearm cartridge diversification. I keep my portfolio small. Is that anyway? That analogy just isn't working. Okay, pre-workout is making my brain not work. 300 blackout. I am doing it. 1 in 5 twist barrels. I'm going crazy, guys. I'm doing it. I got in trouble on NFA talk. They got mad at me. Those guys always get mad at me though, because they're like, I think it's the color of the forum. It's black. It's black on black, like on the screen. So like everyone's dark. They're all mad. No, I'm just kidding. No, Bill's a cool dude. I love that guy. Anyway, not only them, some other people have been talking to me. People do not like when people talk about doing stuff that's like different than the firearms community at large. So I'm talking about 1 in 5 twist barrels, like it's kind of a witch, right? I mean, they're like, you dumbass, why do you want a 1 in 5 twist barrel? Don't you know that we already know that 1 in 7 is fine for everything to stabilize everything? You're so dumb, blah, blah, blah. Why are you? I'm like, damn. Like, that is like, first of all, super harsh for the record. Second of all, well, they might not use all those words, but that's what that's what I'm hearing. They're mean. No, I'm just kidding. I can take that. There was skepticism. They're telling me I'm wasting my time. There's no reason someone should go with anything faster than 1 in 8 or 1 in 7. And that it's been proven that's fine. Look, I'm brand new to this 300 blackout thing right now. This is going to be the first 300 blackout weapon I build, and it's the first one I own. I've shot them. I still have an upper on loan I'm using for testing now. I've shot the 1 in 8 and 1 in 5 twist barrels. I haven't hunted with them yet. Okay. To iterate what I've spoken about before, I am going for 2 things with this build. I want stability and lethality. For stability, sure, I think I could use 1 in 8 or 1 in 7 and still stabilize the projectiles out of the muzzle. Now, if I shoot really far, which is not common with subsonic ammo, but it can be done. Okay, that's a disclaimer. I'm saying this, so don't tell me I didn't say it. I could lose velocity and RPM. By shooting really far, you're going to bleed velocity off. After a couple hundred yards, few hundred yards, maybe 300-400 yards, you're bleeding off velocity, right? You could lose velocity and RPM, and the bullet could destabilize if it gets into a certain regime, right? Remember what we talked about last time, how for long projectiles, if you increase the distance from the center of pressure to the center of gravity, they have a propensity to tumble, and that usually when you're using heavy projectiles, they're longer because diameter is constrained. Remember that? So we're talking about long bullets now. So anyway, shooting 300 blackout subsonic really long, like long distance, if you were into that, you can destabilize later, even if you're stable out of the muzzle. Keep that in mind. Velocity is not constant, right? You always bleed off. You're going to bleed off velocity, unfortunately. So I haven't done these calcs yet. I haven't done the calculations. But I was speaking with David from Discreet Ballistics. David Stark, shout out to David. Trying to do cool stuff. He's a good guy. I was talking to him about that. And it's a pretty interesting argument he makes about that. So I'm not saying I have all the facts for you right now as far as the actual numbers. Haven't done the calcs. But I'm telling you that it is theoretically possible. Now, with accuracy too, right? I just don't have the number for you. Now, with regard to lethality, that's really what I'm focusing on here. Does a really fast rotation increase the lethality of the bullet? Does it change the wound channel appreciably? I would really like to test this. I would like to get 2 uppers, similar muzzle velocity, same ammo, different twists, and shoot them through a fresh hog or something, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Anyway, maybe I'll get that chance. Now, I've seen some ballistic gel test results, but for me, the proof is going to be in the dead hogs or deer. We shall see. People are telling me it matters. SIG is telling me it matters. Q is telling me it matters. Discrete ballistics is telling me it matters. I hear it. I'm doing it. Look, I'm doing it. But I'm telling you guys that I'm talking to right now, folks that are listening to this, I don't know. I cannot say unequivocally that this 1 in 5 twist is going to be a game changer. But you know what? How do you learn? You make mistakes. So if I make a mistake, I'm only out a lot of $100. It's okay. It's okay. So for now, I'm going 1 in 5 a twist. We'll see. Now, other than barrels, the next component I'll be using on this build is going to be a Superlative Arms bleed-off gas block. I bought a couple of them. I have some of them already. I use them on my gun. So I expect I'll be using that in restrictive mode instead of bleed-off mode. But I think I'm going to test both, sound test both, do test reports on both of those to get the best combination for my uses. I'll use PewSoft. Kind of convenient. I have PewSoft, right? Benefits of PEW Science. Anyway, it will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see which combinations of gas block, setting, and super subsonic ammunition results. It'll be interesting in what results in different characteristics for the platform. The function of the gun, sound, stuff like that. Should be fun to figure out. Both the barrels are pistol length gas barrels that I ordered. I didn't want to do something too crazy. I saw what Q did with the honey badger, and I've shot a honey badger. And I didn't buy a honey badger because I have a registered lower, full auto machine gun, and they don't sell the honey badger uppers. So I was like, well, I'll just make my own. Anyway, and I got barrels in stock. So this should be. They're not Q barrels, but it's okay. So anyway, I got a 7-inch and 9-inch, right? So the barrels are pistol length. I picked up some melanited spiked tactical gas tubes. I'm not sure the melanite makes a difference, but they're cheap. Should work fine. So that's what I picked up so far for that. I haven't picked up handguards yet. I have a stripped upper receiver I found in my safe the other day. Just found a random gun part. It's like finding $5 in your jeans. So I said on social media. I need to get another upper receiver. Do you guys recommend any? I don't know. I don't care if it's Gucci. It doesn't matter as long as it's in spec and it fits stuff. As the build progresses, I'll let you folks know about more what I do parts wise and build technique wise and why I'm doing it. You can follow that along with me. I promise. I'll show you what I do. I haven't even gotten the barrels yet. The barrel company I ordered from, Mostech, one of the dudes, I guess one of the designers, the dude texted me a picture of his CAD or CAM program he's using for his CNC, I guess, or however they're making their barrels. And he's asking me what profile I wanted. And he's like, hey, is this okay? Like, what do you think about this? And I was like, hey, can you do this? Can you shift this back? Can you reprofile this part to shift the center of gravity back? And he's like, yeah, we can do that. I was like, cool. How was that for service? I don't even know if these barrels are going to be good, honestly. I don't even know if they're going to be accurate. I have no idea. But I will tell you that their service is awesome. The guy freaking texted me a picture of his CAD design and asked me if I wanted to make adjustments to it. Is that insane? Hey, man, I thought it was insane. There must be a really small company or something that be able to do that, and maybe they're awesome. Either way, maybe both. Shout out to those guys. Super cool. Anyway, I'll let you know how that works. Okay, topic 5. Okay, so continuation of some of the topics we spoke about on the last episode. We talked about suppressed 9mm silencer pistol hosts, or suppressed hosts, 9mm silencer hosts, and we also talked about personal defense weapons. Yeah. Okay, so I got some feedback. Folks really wanted to talk about CZs and also the HKP7. Look, man, I guess I'm going to have to buy a CZ. Riddle me this. And people are going to throw shoes at me for this, man. I'm sorry. I just don't know because I haven't done the research. But when did CZ get involved with Dan Wesson? Is that like a recent thing? I saw that like a couple years back. I think I saw that at NRA or SHOT. I saw them together or something. And then when I think of CZ, I think of the old 75B. 75B, right? That's what it is. It's a cool pistol. I always found it interesting when you're racking the slide because the way it sits in the frame and the tongue and groove thing, the rails going on. Anyway, people are really loving CZ now. Is it the Dan Wesson connection? Is it because are they turning it into like a custom shop or something? I don't know. What makes it so cool now? I'm not doubting they're cool guns. I mean, I know they're cool guns because CZs are awesome. My CZ rifle is amazing. The one from Review 6.1 is amazing. Now, yeah, I don't. Anyway, I'll get one, guys. I promise. Or someone can let me test one, or the amount of feedback I got about CZ pistols. I don't even know how to address that. I didn't anticipate it. People are there must be some kind of somebody. I don't know if it's like, they call those people with a lot of followers on social media influencers. I bet you there's an influencer that has one, or like a competition shooter or something. And I bet you it must be. I had never seen such traffic about those guns. They must be awesome. So maybe am I being influenced? I'm being influenced. Anyway, so hey. So guys, check those out for a silencer host. You might want to go to your local gun store, hold one, check it out, see if you like it. Maybe the gun store will let you shoot one. I highly recommend shooting a pistol before buying one. Oh my goodness, you better. Handguns are so personal. Oh, they're so personal and intimate, guys. You really want to make sure that fits your hand right. Nothing worse than getting stuck with a gun that sucks for your hand. Nothing worse. Now, people will say, oh, you should be able to pick up any... No. That's not true. You pick a gun that's comfortable for you, because if it is, you're going to train with it more, you're going to like it more, you're going to be more proficient with it, you're going to defend yourself with it, you're just going to be better. So, hey, all the awesome sauce in the world isn't going to make a gun your gun. That's a personal decision. Treat it like buying a car. If you're a car guy, treat it like anything you're into. All right, enough about the CZ. Now, the HKP7 got a lot of feedback. Wow. So I stand by my statement. I go on record as saying that the HKP7 is a potentially poor silencer host. I have yet to see someone do it well. And every time I've asked about anyone that has suppressed one, and I ask anyone that has suppressed one, they say it's cool until I ask them how it shoots. And then they say, well, the first thing they say, well, it has, more blowback than a locked breech host. And, they get around to saying it's not as good as other pistols, etc. And I'm like, okay, so no one's done it. Got it. No one's done it. Got it. So you're either going to have to modify the gas system, change the recoil spring, or add mass to the slide to make it better, right? You got to do something. So anyway, I'm not going to do it. Not right now. So if someone wants to send me one, send me a P7 with a threaded barrel on it already, because you got to remove the barrel and press one in. It's a pain in the butt. Or you got to extend and thread it. If someone wants to send me one to test, I will test it. I'm not going to go out of my way to modify my personal gun, guys. So send any ideas about this to tech@pewscience.com. It's a good email address for that. If you have a lead on a threaded barrel equipped P7 you want to send me. Oh, I'm going to get hate mail. I promise I'll treat it like the delicate, sweet little German baby it is, and I won't break it. Liebchen. Yeah. No, I'll treat it nice. But I will test it if you want. So anyway, so let's talk about PDWs, personal defense weapons. What are some folks defining as personal defense weapons nowadays? What are you guys even talking about? So on the previous episode, I prefaced the argument by defining the PDW as any gun that you find you can reasonably carry around and maneuver in the place you're using it. And I spoke about defense versus offense versus intended use. And if you're going to use it for other stuff, keep that. That's a factor. So let's make a quick list just to get let's get our creative PDW thinking caps on. Let's get our juices flowing. We'll make a list and we'll consider suppression since that's cool. And I think defensive weapons should be quieter so you can use them inside. Yeah, I'm going to vote that. Okay, let's make a list. So, number 1, AR platform. Well, I picture 4 subcategories. AR platform. First one, short barrel 5.56 pistol or SBR, right? It's a go-to for PDW. Next one would be something like a 300 blackout pistol or SBR, right? Because short barrel, right? Okay, so you got 5.56, 300 blackout. Another one could be like a 9mm pistol or SBR. I keep saying pistol or SBR because there's so many braces nowadays, right? Remember when braces came out and then like people were like, oh, you can't shoulder those, it's illegal. Could you imagine like building a gun or buying a gun and the legality of the weapon system changing depending on how you held it? Could you imagine that? Think of guys. I want you, okay, stop what you're doing. Or time out. Picture this. You go to Home Depot. Not during coronavirus, of course, because you're self-isolating because you're a responsible adult. But let's say you go to Home Depot last year, pre-corona, and you go and you want to buy a chainsaw because you have a tree problem. So you go, and your wife's like, you need to cut down those trees, and you're like, okay, I'm going to Home Depot. Joke's on her, right? Because you love Home Depot. So you go to Home Depot. And you buy your chainsaw and you're reading the manual because, okay, this is a fantasy. So you're reading the manual and you see there's a disclaimer and it says, well, now you can use this chainsaw with your left elbow bent if you're right-handed. So your weak arm can have a bent elbow. Now, if you straighten that elbow with that chainsaw, that is federal prison. You'd be like, what? You'd probably like set the manual down and you'd look at your wife, who was by this time furious because you're still not cutting down the tree. And this is like the one time you read the manual. So she's like, what's going on? You look at her and you're like, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. You'd be dumbfounded. So If any of you have a worry that you shouldn't fire a gun that you've legally built or purchased by holding it a different way, based on principle, I cannot endorse that feeling. And I am not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice, but that's ludicrous, man. So I don't know if people are still telling you that. Don't even, for the love of God. Okay. Could you imagine? Okay, short barrel 5.56 pistol or SBR, 300 blackout pistol or SBR, 9mm pistol or SBR. And any other caliber you can shove in a short AR upper. What kind of short barrel can you do? Now let's stick to those three for now. 5.56, 300 blackout, 9mm. Okay, so out of the three I just listed, I'm gonna have to lean toward the two rifle calibers right now for PDW. I just don't see how a 9mm AR platform right now is developed well enough to be a dedicated PDW. Is that controversial? Is that a controversial statement? I'm not sure, because I see they're popular, but given dedicated 9mm platforms that are out there right now, okay, so what do we have in the AR? We have the CMMG rotating delay system. Shows a lot of promise, right? Super cool. I keep hearing things about their extractor springs wearing out. I'm not talking about like an MP5, right? On an MP5, the extractor spring on the bolt, the little gold colored little extractor spring, kind of looks like a bent paper clip a little bit. Anyway, those things wear out after a while. It takes a while for an MP5 extractor spring to wear out, right? And the little bolt. I'm not talking about that. In the CMMG system, I'm hearing those things are not lasting that long at all. I'm not going to give you a round count because I don't have personal experience with it, but anecdotally, people are telling me they are not impressed with the extractor spring durability and let me rephrase that. They are not impressed with the extractor spring resiliency and service life in the CMMG rotating delay system. Now, I have also heard anecdotally from other people that CMMG has addressed that issue. Is that fixed? Can someone tell me if that's fixed? That would be great. Anyway, I want to like it. I want to love it because I really like those endo mags, man. You can get a P mag, like a 5.56 P mag. You can put these freaking inserts in there for the CMMG system, and the inserts in the P mag allow you to run 9x19 cartridges, and you don't have to use a mag block in the AR lower. That is huge. That is all you need to know, right? I mean, when I heard that, I was like, sign me up. But then the extractor thing, I was like, got me nervous. I'm nervous. So that might have been fixed. We need to figure that out, guys. Anyway, I don't want to use Glock mags in a 9mm AR. Come on, what is this? Blasphemy. If you're going to use a subgun, if you're going to use a 9mm magazine in an AR, you're going to use a Colt mag, guys. Come on. Glock mag. Just don't let me catch you doing that. I don't want a Glock mag. I also don't want direct blowback if it's not an open bolt gun. It's an AR. It's closed bolt. I don't want direct blowback. It's not open bolt. What are you doing? Been there. I shot a Space Invader by Noveski. It was okay. I actually tested it side by side in MP5. You'll have to wait to see that test report. It's interesting. In summary, I would say 9mm AR is not something I think they've licked just yet. I think I know that there's a roller delayed blowback option that mimics the MP5 operation, but I think it's pretty expensive and it's involved commitment wise. I don't know. I might put my money on the CMMG system once the bugs are worked out. If they are. Man, I just thought of something. People might be screaming right now because I might be dogging their favorite gun because they're like, dude, the CMMG system's awesome. Man, I hope that's true. So if I'm messing up right now by giving people doubts, let me know I'm wrong, because I want to believe, man. I want to believe. I want to put one of those on my machine gun lower and go to town, go to Funky Town with that. I bet that system's going to be the most practical 9mm out of an AR platform. Now, it would be cool to make the bolt modified to really delay it. Yeah, you could like change the angle on the bolt lugs with the barrel extension, match them up and make it so that it locks for a little bit longer or something like that. Like the longer you lock it within reason, then you could tune the rest of that with buffer weight and buffer travel and spring, right? Wouldn't that, because, right? I mean, if you start somewhere that's good, then you have all those other knobs to turn in the platform, right? If you can just get that chamber pressure to drop more before the bolt opens, you are in business, baby. You are in business. I'm telling you. Why do you think an MP5 is badass? I'm getting excited right now. Why do you think an MP5 is cool? Well, first of all, it's old and it sucks because it doesn't have a top rail and it doesn't have a freaking last round bolt hole open. There's all kinds of reasons why the MP5 sucks. It's heavy, but it looks awesome and it has one of the most ingenious freaking recoil systems, or I'm sorry, action systems ever developed in a firearm. The roller delayed blowback action is just, it's a damn German masterpiece. And if you haven't shot an MP5, you're wrong. You need to go check it out. Anyway, where was I? Oh man. Anyway, right. So I think, you know what? I will say I was on ARFCOM a while back. I don't go there anymore. They don't let me post. Anyway, I think some folks have messed with this. There's a dude. What is that dude's handle? Amphibian? Is that right? Amphibian? Is he the guy? That might be the guy. He has done this with the CMMG. I want to say this a long time ago. I remember reading something from him. I'm going off of memory. Anyway, he might be the guy to talk to about this. I think his handle is Amphibian. I think he's on ARFCOM. He might be on other forums. Find him. I might be blowing up the spot. My apologies to you, sir. If you get too much traffic from me now, I'm sorry. But I think you're the dude. And if you're not the dude, I apologize. Anyway, I think CMMG is the ticket. He might know. Report back. Okay, next. Short barrel 5.56. So it loses a lot of ballistic advantage, guys, in short barrels. The cartridge just was designed for a long barrel, right? Everyone parrots that. I don't need to go into that. You know that. So if you're thinking short, you're probably thinking a 10.5, right? 10.5 inch for 5.56. I'm telling you, if you're thinking shorter than that, look, if you're thinking 10.5, you better be thinking silencer or you're crazy. Now, if you're thinking shorter than 10.5, you better be thinking silencer or you're crazy. It's so loud. Anyway, you're getting pretty long though. 10.5 plus silencer? You're getting long. You're getting long. So, I have a 10.5. I use it with a shorter silencer. I put the Rugged Razor on that thing. Put the Rugged Radiant on it too. And the K configuration is loud as hell. K configuration silencer on a 10.5. Who are you trying to fool? What are you trying to prove? People think it's quieter than a brake. It's so loud. Anyway, it's decent. Definitely effective for close ranges. I can maneuver it well. 10.5 inch. I got the superlative ARB piston system in that. Ooh, sweet baby, sweet. But it is loud. Anyway, I would say that it's a pretty good option. Hey, I called mine the J Blaster. I have one for a PDW. It's not my only PDW, but I have one. I think, moving on, I think 300 Blackout would probably be better. That's why I'm doing it. That's one of the reasons, right? Would probably be better due to the quiet factor for subsonic, and the much larger projectiles for both subsonic and supers. The round is just better suited for short barrels. I think it's better for the AR platform in a small package. Like, less than a 10-inch barrel. Like a 7-inch barrel, 300 Blackout, right? That's like the Honey Badger, right? They got one of those. Or, the SIG has some stuff like that. They're doing it. I'm gonna start playing with that. I think that out of the AR platform, it might win ballistically all around. So to recap, the three in the AR platform, 9mm can be good, maybe, if we work the bugs out, right? And 300 Blackout beats 5.56 ballistically, right? So remember, 9mm and 300 blackout can both be subsonic. So really, get out of here with that 5.56 stuff for PDWs, unless you're all about a dual use gun for stuff other than PDWs. Right? So this isn't, well, this is a great problem to have, guys. Right? It's a great problem to have. You could pick anything. Your pick could be right no matter what. It's kind of a rigged game we're playing here, right? Because it kind of matters what you want to do. Okay, let's move on. Next platform. We just talked about ARs and what you can do with them. And I recognize there are more calibers in ARs. There's even like 9x39, some crazy stuff like that. I stuck with the popular ones. The next platform I want to talk about is the pistol caliber carbine. Now I realize ARs can fit into that, but I'm not talking about ARs. I'm talking about other ones. I'm talking about other 9mm pistol caliber carbines, and maybe not carbines, but pistols, braces, and CZ Scorpion. That's an example. SIG MPX. That's an example. Brugger und Tomet B&T. That's an example, right? APC9, TP9, pick a flavor, right? These are all things people would call subguns. I do not call these subguns because subgun is short for submachine gun. Submachine guns are automatic weapons. These are not automatic weapons for you guys that are buying them. You know, and any of you dealers and manufacturers out there, sure, you can get full auto, all this stuff, but for the rest of us, we can't. So, well, we can, but we won't. Wink, wink. So, they're not subguns. But let's talk about them. Because you know what? You'd have to call them semi-auto guns. You couldn't call them submachine guns. So what does subgun stand for anymore? Subcaliber gun? No. I'm sorry. Subgun's already taken. It's already taken, so it's a machine gun. Okay. So regarding the Scorpion, the MPX, the B&T stuff, I need to do a side-by-side silencer test with all these hosts. I think it would benefit the community. They all have different operating parameters. For example, the AR, like we talked about, can be direct blowback or rotating delayed blowback or even roller lock delayed blowback. The CZ, that Scorpion, it's a direct blowback weapon. You should know that. It's very important to know that. The SIG MPX has a gas piston. Way different than what we've been talking about for pistol caliber stuff. So you should know that. The B&T APC9 is also direct blowback, but it has a hydraulic buffer stock. That is important to know. And the B&T TP9, I have one of those. It's crazy. It's a mechanical rotating delay blowback. There's a cam path that the barrel follows within the barrel shroud. Very, very, very exacting tolerances. And trust me, I have a lot of experience with that platform. There are some significant issues. Anyway, it's stupid complicated. It's stupid complicated. The barrel shroud thing, the barrel tolerance and the movement, there's tons of caked on debris when it gets suppressed. I don't think it's a good design for silencer use. I said it. I'm saying that. I'm going on record. B&T knows it. They won't tell you. They're not going to tell you that publicly. I don't care. They got the design from Steyr and they ran with it. They know what they did. Anyway, there's more of these I haven't even listed. Really, you have three groups of weapons. Direct blowback with a spring and mass. Direct blowback that's more sophisticated, that has damping involved. Or I'm sorry, added damping other than the inherent damping in the system that's always present in this, because you always have some degree of inherent damping in the systems, right? With regard to material nonlinearities that are velocity dependent on the bolt path. That would be, if we were to break the recoil path of a semi-automatic or a fully automatic reciprocating mass weapon, and you wanted to really break that down into modeling the movement, you could do so with a very simple, ordinary differential equation. What you could do is you could look at the damping and its direct impact on, or rather, should I say, you could look directly at the relationship between velocity and damping and see how that term influenced your recoil pulse in your recoil force in the time domain, I should say. In other words, where you have your acceleration coupled with your mass, F equals ma, right? You have your velocity coupled with your damping parameter. So these and your spring, don't worry, your spring's in there too, but it's dependent on distance. Now your damping term, your hydraulics, that APC9, I tell you what, they might be onto something. Now, you have other delayed blowback guns that can do it with rollers and cams and lugs, whatever can be done to lengthen the amount of time the bolt stays closed so that pressure can drop a little bit before it opens. Whatever you can do for that, you're in business. You for suppression, you're going to want to go with delayed blowback for maximum sound signature reduction. The TP9 is plastic and cheap. Just don't get it. The APC9, it just won an Army contract, right? So it's direct blowback. It has that hydraulic stuff. You might want to shoot it first. I need to test it. I need to test that for you guys. I hear that thing is pretty cool. I just don't like plastic mags in a subgun. And I'm breaking my own rule. In a pistol caliber carbine, I have flashbacks to the TP9. It takes the same mags. Am I wrong? I don't know, maybe. I don't care. Now, I hear the SIG MPX isn't that great due to the gas piston for silencer use. Just what I hear. Some folks like the Scorpion, but again, it's not delayed blowback. So I think perhaps this one is going to be a toss-up between 9mm AR and the APC9. We'll have to test that. We'll test it. Okay, now real subguns. Let's go on to those. So Uzi. Did you guys go on Reddit the other day in the NFA subreddit and see that dude? He posted, he was like, yeah, this is my first stamp. And it's like he takes a picture of his passenger seat in his car, and he was young. There's like, yeah, I got it from the pawn shop. That's so cool. What a great entry into the NFA arena. Uzis, M11s, MP5s, other transferable machine guns. For lethality, I think do these win? Do these win when compared to the 9mm pistol caliber carbines? You can do bursts of fire in full auto, and they're compact. These little machine pistols, they're compact and controllable in the proper configurations. One could make the argument that they beat out the semi-auto 300 blackout ARs because the 9mm ammo is cheaper and you can dump a lot of it quickly. That can be an argument one could make. If you know what you're doing with a full auto weapon, one could make the argument that it is better to kill things with, right? I guess one could make that argument. In reality, is that true? Is that true for everyone? Is a machine gun better for you? I don't know, probably not. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just talking smack. But I tell you what, machine guns are cool. Peace through superior firepower, guys. I tell you what, you got to get one. Anyway, all these guns that I'm talking about, the Uzi, the M11, the MP5, the Max, all this stuff, and all the other amazing subguns, most, if not all of them, can be obtained in semi-auto variants. And really, I think the only one worth doing in the semi-auto is going to be the MP5. I mean, maybe you can do the others if you have some nostalgia, and maybe that's why I think it's cool, because I have nostalgia for the MP5. But also, I respect the engineering, and I like what it does for suppressed use. Now, I just don't see investing in the accessories needed to make a Mac really cool unless it's a machine gun. Just because of the entry point. Now, semi-auto Uzis have never appealed to me either. Now, because of part of what makes an Uzi so cool is how it shoots in full auto. It's smooth. Now, the MP5 is widespread now. And with the SP5, the semi-auto version from HK that they re-released, that's brand new. You can get that brand new, guys. Yeah, it's expensive, but that's a brand new HK. Just get one. I don't have one, but I would. I'd get one if I was in the market. Now, that might be up there on the list for purists. Now, gone are the days of resorting to buying a clone MP5 from Todd Bailey. Remember him? Don't do that. Stay away. We've all been burned. Those were the days. Now, I'm a big fan of all these platforms. All these platforms, these real subgun platforms, full auto now, they're tried and true designs. I'm a huge fan of the Mac family of submachine guns. I like them for a few reasons. I like them for the price. I like them for the customization possible. I have a transferable M11-9, and I have the small Lage Max 11 SK upper. You can think of that as a B&T TP9 for people who want a real gun. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Your B&T, your plastic toy gun is fine. No. Serious time. No. The Lage uppers transform the Mac machine pistols, the submachine guns into ridiculously good submachine guns, guys. If you don't know about that, I urge you to go to Uzi Talk. That's a good website to learn about Macs. Uzi Talk. Professionals there. Don't mess around when you go there. When you go there with a mission of learning. Take it seriously. Respect those guys. They've been around a long time. I'm serious. You treat them nice, and you will learn from them. There's a ton of knowledge there. You don't even know. You don't even know, man. Especially nowadays with some of the other forums that are gone. Go to Uzi Talk. You add a tungsten bolt to those. You don't even know, man. Open bolt gun, tungsten bolt. You just got to experience it. Now, I don't know, some of you guys that are newer into guns, welcome, by the way. You might not understand the difference between an open bolt gun and a closed bolt gun, because, you're not going to see a lot of open bolt guns. It's kind of a relic, you could say. In an open bolt gun, well, maybe it would help if we'll start with open bolt. Open bolt gun, you say you pull it, you cock the weapon, you pull the bolt back, it catches on whatever it catches on depending on the weapon. And you have the magazine inserted. Let's talk about a magazine-fed open bolt weapon. You have the magazine inserted, and when you pull the trigger, it's a little weird because the whole gun's going to move, because what was stationary when you pulled the trigger is now moving, and that whole bolt mass is going to fly forward. What that is going to do, the firing pin in the bolt is fixed. It's like one solid piece that's fixed in some guns, that it's fixed to the bolt so it doesn't move independently from the bolt, like in a traditional, like in an AR, for example. So this bolt slamming forward, it picks up a round from the magazine, it pushes it into the barrel, and as soon as it gets chamber all the way, and it bottoms out, the freaking firing pin or the primer gets hit by that firing pin in the bolt. Bullet does its thing, the cartridge does its thing, bullet goes down the barrel, the energy is transferred to the bolt flies backward, and it resets and it's ready for the next shot. Cool, right? So when you do that, there's a few advantages to that. You can fire a lot, and the rounds don't sit in the chamber heating up from getting your barrel hot, so you don't get a cook-off. So that's cool. Plus, the operation is super simple. Plus, if you get a semi-auto, it's super easy to convert it to full auto. Wink, wink. There's a lot of cool things about open bolts. Anyway, open bolt guns are cool. We'll have to go into that in a future episode. You know what? The other day, I did a sound test of a bolt closing on my M11 just for fun. Would you guys like to see that? I might show it to you. Let me know. I think you can't go wrong with an Uzi. Uzis are smooth. I like the Mac better because it's made in the USA. That is my personal reason. Don't get it twisted. I'm not calling it. The Uzi's probably a better gun. I just don't. I'm more into the Mac. Now, a lot of people love the Uzis. These are things to think about when buying this stuff. And I think that's a subject of a future episode. I think in this group, if you're going semi-auto, in this group of subguns, if you're going semi-auto real subgun, I would go MP5. If you're going full auto, I would go Mac or Uzi. If you have unlimited money, I would say go all of them. Get a sear pack for your MP5 and be a baller. So, okay, we went over 3 main groups for PDWs. AR-15 platform, we picked 9mm 300 blackout, 9mm pistol caliber carbine. There were a lot of options, and then 9mm submachine gun, and you have options there. So really, you may now have more options than you started with, which is great, right? You know about some more guns, and you may be wondering, well, dang man, where the heck do I go from here? Well, I think that answer is think about what you're using it for. Let's use the following process. Number 1, pick the caliber. That'll narrow down things a lot. Pick the weapon size. Keep the silencer in mind when doing this. Your total length. What are you looking to do? What package do you need for your PDW application? Pick the weight. Pick the weight. Pick the accessory potential. Let me go back to weight. Pick the weight. You don't want something, consider the ammo too, guys. What do you want? How heavy? Are you going to hoof it with this thing all the time? What are you going to put it in a bag? How heavy is the bag? Is it going to be in a holster? Are you going to do your crazy 80s movie Mac shoulder holster? I mean, if you do, send me pictures because that's awesome. Pick the weight. Okay, going back, number 4. Pick the accessory potential, the folding stock potential. What do you want it to do? Nowadays, because of our wondrous community, there are tons of options with regard to folding stocks and folding braces because the market demanded it. More short barrel weapons have braces than anything before, and I think that's great. So because of that, a lot of these weapons have folding stocks, including the AR platform. That's a whole nother episode, but keep that in mind. If that's something you really want, think about what stock options are available for the weapon platform you're choosing. So that way you'll be able to really tailor this to your specific needs. What you don't want to do is buy something and you're like, oh man, I can't put that on it. Oh, that's not what I thought it would look like. Really, there's a lot of information on the internet. So you might want to go to a gun store, check out some friends' weapons if you can, and kind of see what's comfortable to you to shoulder. What would you be happy with truly shouldering and firing? What options are there? I think this is something that I think some folks forget. They get seduced by some of these guns and they forget that you have to use the gun. So think about the stock and what the utility is of the different configurations that are available. And then lastly, think about semi or full auto. I know that's a whole nother conversation, but if this is going to be something you own for a long time and you've always liked the true submachine guns and you can swing it, especially in this market, I would never tell you to not buy a machine gun. I think everyone should own machine guns. I think that they're great investments and they're fun. And so if you're trying to save money, don't talk to me. Anyway, pick those 5 things: the caliber, weapon size, the weight, the accessory potential with the stock, and then semi or full auto. Those 5 things. After you make an outline of those 5 things, then your list is going to get narrow. And then we can start talking specifics. So that's going to give you a starting point. All right. As I've been talking about this, it makes me want to test a lot of them. I think it'd be really cool to pick 4 or 5 hosts with a single silencer. A single silencer and ammunition, and do a 5-shot test with each host. I think that would help people. Would that help people? It would turn into more later, I'm sure. We'd have to get multiple silencers, and there'd be whole different blowback characteristics, blah, blah, blah. But what do you guys think? Is that something you'd be interested in seeing? Let me know. Anyway, if any of you folks have ideas for which host you like to see and which silencer, I think we should only use one. Let me know. That's something we're going to do. I think people will find it useful. All right, it's getting late. You got an hour and a half today. I could have broken this up. Into 2 episodes. Well, it's getting late. I got to go. Stay tuned for the next review. It's coming soon. Thanks again for supporting PEW Science. PewScience.com. I love you guys. Thank you. You guys rock. I hope this was informative. I'll see you next time. Bye.